So this video was supposed to be about this little guy, but I told myself I wasn't gonna make a whole video on this because it's just a tiny little delicious controller. Oh. There's better things to talk about. But as I was going through my closet full of gaming goodies, I realized there's a lot here that I haven't made videos on, and they're all for the Switch Lite. So that's what this video is. I've been getting a lot of questions about the 8-bit Do Zero and the flip cover and the Switch Lite itself, so this video is just to shut all those guys up. Hey, follow me on Twitter. I want to get over 30,000. The Switch Lite is perfect for a lot of people. About half of the people that I know with original Switches only play it in portable mode anyway. The Switch Lite is $100 cheaper than the original Switch, so the barrier to entry is about a third lower. And there's this brand new Coral one, but good luck finding that right now. Does this mean you should throw your OG Switch in the trash and get a Switch Lite? Absolutely not. You're perfectly fine where you are. But some of you OG Switch owners might find some useful stuff in this video too. For example, these charge stands. The OG Switch has a kickstand and detachable controllers, so you already have everything that you need in order to play in tabletop mode right out of the box. The only issue you might have is charging the Switch, since the charge port is on the bottom and it's blocked if you're playing with it in tabletop mode. This is such a narrow use case that I've never run into this issue, but the Lite does not have a kickstand at all, nor does it have detachable controllers. But let's say there's something you want to play on your Lite that requires a controller, or would just be more comfortable with a controller. Maybe you want to be like Skyrim guy in the original Switch commercial and lean back in your plane seat. Whatever the case is, the official Nintendo charge stand is a perfect, tiny way to prop your Switch or your Switch Lite upright. It's really just a USB-C pass-through and a kickstand. It's not the most portable. It won't fit in a slim case, but it is probably your tiniest option. This is also a great way to display your Switch when it's just charging at home. If you want one that's a little bit more practical, Hori makes their own charge stand that was honestly a little hard to find. I didn't even know that it existed until somebody told me about it in either a Twitch chat or during Wulff Den Live or something. It's way bigger than the Nintendo one, but it has a good reason. It has 2 USB ports. The Switch Lite doesn't come with a dock of any kind, so you would need something like this if you ever wanted to connect something via USB-A. Some controllers are way easier to pair for the first time by just plugging them in, so this is a really useful thing to have. It's also cool to be able to plug GameCube controllers right into your Switch Lite for some quick tabletop smash action. The official Nintendo GameCube adapter plugs right into it no problem because of the 2 USB ports. I'm a big fan of this Nyko GameCube adapter because I usually only use one GameCube controller because I'm a lonely man. Slide into them DMs. But unfortunately, it's just a little too thick for this charge stand. It works. It just twists your Switch a little bit, and I don't really like the amount of pressure it puts on your USB-C port. If you want something a little more compact that's specifically for Smash, there's this Panda Global GameCube adapter that's $60. I don't have one because I could just do this. There you go. You happy now? I talked about the Panda Global adapter. You know that I'm not a fan of third-party docks, or really just anything that delivers power to your Switch, because there's a lot of weird power delivery issues. I'm actually working on a much more in-depth video on that again, but that's taking a while and it's gonna be a while. These charge stands don't actually deliver power to your Switch. They just pass through that power that's already coming from your official Nintendo Switch charger. So they should be perfectly safe. At least I'm not too worried about it. If all you want to do is display your Switch Lite, this aluminum stand looks pretty cool. It was sent to us a long time ago. I have no idea who sent it to us. I completely forgot, and I can't find it on Amazon anymore. It's the same thing as those iPad stands you see all the time, but the hooks at the bottom are thicker to accommodate a Switch or a Switch Lite. It was actually made for the original Switch. It looks pretty good as part of your desk setup. The next specifically Switch Lite accessory is the flip cover. This is made by Nintendo and was a Japan-only accessory until about December. There was an unusual amount of hype around it, considering it was just a flat gray case, but it's nice and minimal. It's the thinnest coverall case you can get. It's pretty rigid, and I'm very comfortable just throwing this whole unit in my bag as is. It's enough to protect my Switch Lite from the rest of the items in my bag. So this has been my go-to Switch Lite case recently because it's just so simple. The downsides are that I don't like how the top part just kind of sits on your hands while you're using it, although you can forget that it's there pretty quickly. The Switch doesn't automatically lock when you close the cover like an iPad does. I think I'm just spoiled by the magic of my iPad, and this case is $40. That's a lot for a Switch Lite case, especially one this minimal. It's also the price of the Apple Smart cover that locks automatically. So yeah, $40 is a lot for a flat, gray, dumb cover. And for that reason, I can't recommend it to everybody. There are plenty of other great cases. I have a whole video on that. Of those, I came to love the Hori and the PowerA ones for their minimalism. Since then, I've also gotten this nice Animal Crossing one. I like this because it has a nice little band the zipper can sit in so it doesn't jiggle around. It's also just a great design. I'm bringing these up because the flip case fits in all of these cases if you want to really be protected. It's just a little snug in most of them. My Hori one is slightly modified, so it fits a little better in that one than it does in the rest. Putting these two cases together is a little overkill, but something to consider if you have one of these already and are seriously considering the flip case. You'll be happy to know you don't have to throw out your current Switch Lite case. If you want a case that's a little bit bigger, maybe you want more protection, or maybe you just want to carry some more stuff with your Switch Lite, I have a lot more cases in that video that I didn't talk about here, so definitely check that out if you're interested. Also, I just straight up shoot one of the cases with a gun, and almost nobody mentioned it in the comments at all. Like it wasn't a weird thing. Like, it was just perfectly normal for me to pull out a gun and shoot it. If the Switch Lite is the only Switch that you have, another great accessory to consider is a grip. If you're just chilling on your couch playing your Switch, it's gonna be a lot more comfortable to have something to rest your wrists on. Our go-to one here is the Satisfy one because the right side is a little offset, so you reach the right buttons, especially if you want to get that right stick. So in my opinion, it's better for Smash, it's better for shooters, it's better for third-person games. Full disclosure, they're a regular sponsor here. They're not sponsoring this video, but there's an affiliate link in the description. Use the code WulffDen10, you get 10% off of anything on the site. And they have cases that fit the Switch and the grip itself if you want to carry all of that with you. Some of those cases will also fit a charger or some controllers if you really want to. You may also want a controller for your Switch Lite. I would recommend just getting a Joy-Con. The Switch Lite doesn't come with one, and it might be required for some aspects of some games. There aren't many that require a Joy-Con, but I would imagine that it would be nice to have in case you run into one of these issues. But maybe you want something a little bit cheaper because Joy-Con are expensive and they only come in pairs if you buy them new. So you can get something like this 8BitDo Lite controller, which is made specifically for the Switch Lite. I have a video on this as well, so I don't want to get too into it. The coolest feature is the dual D-pads. So if a game doesn't let you use the D-pad, like for example, Link's Awakening or Smash Brothers, the 8BitDo Lite will force it to use the D-pad. It's pretty cool. My favorite 8BitDo controller is the SN30 Pro Plus. Obviously, that's not very portable, but they do have SN30 controllers without the joysticks that are very flat. So if you just want it for your Switch Lite, this is thicker than the 8BitDo Lite, but it might be a little more comfortable for you, especially if you're playing any Mario games or any of those SNES Nintendo Switch Online games. There's also, of course, the SNES Nintendo Switch Online official controller, which I still can't find anywhere. Did you take it? There's nobody over there. I'm getting really lonely in here. What I don't have a video on is this 8BitDo Zero 2 controller because I ate it. Oops. It's just a tiny controller. So other than that, it's pretty unremarkable. It comes with the smallest USB charge cable I have ever seen. and this wrist strap that is way too big comparatively. Make sure you read the instructions carefully when you pair it because it took me a while to figure out even though it was written clear as day. You might notice that it doesn't have all of the buttons that a normal controller has. Pressing down on the D-pad and select at the same time will activate the home button, which is pretty smart because I miss the home button on controllers that don't have the home button. I miss the home button on Pokemon Let's Go because the Pokeball Plus doesn't have one and you can't use any other controllers. So if you use your Pro controller as the designated home button, too bad. There are shoulder buttons, but there is no ZL or ZR buttons. The instructions say that pressing start and select will act as a ZL and ZR input. But I couldn't get that to work at all. Maybe I was doing something wrong, I don't know, you tell me. Is this a comfortable controller to use? Absolutely not. You're not getting this for comfort, you're getting this for portability. These 8BitDo controllers are Bluetooth, so they also work on PC or Mac. This might be a good thing to just leave in your bag in case you want to always have a controller with you. The 8BitDo Lite is a little better because it has all of the buttons that you need, but it's also bigger. The Zero can fit in your minimal case pretty easily with just a slight bulge. Because it's so tight though, this also might press down on the buttons and drain the battery a little bit. And no, it won't fit with the flip case also. You have to pick one. It's either the flip case or a controller in your case. I would say this is a great controller to have in case you ever want to play multiplayer with somebody. Let's say you're playing Mario Deluxe and you just want somebody to hop into your game real quick. You would need 2 of these controllers. I thought that you can just have the Switch Lite in your hands and have somebody else using something like the 8BitDo Zero alongside you, but it doesn't work like that. You can't be using the controls on the Switch Lite and have a second controller paired at the same time. The first controller paired is player 1, and so is the controls on the Switch Lite itself. So you got 2 player 1s. Is that useful for a game? I don't know, maybe Fogs? So anyway, if that's your use case, you either need to invest in 2 of these controllers or get one 8BitDo Zero and one 8BitDo Lite. Personally, my travel controller is an 8BitDo SN30 Pro, not the Plus, because if it's in my bag, I can deal with not having grips. The downside to that is the thumbsticks are a little obtrusive, but I got room in my bag for it. It's totally fine. I also have a million 8BitDo controllers because they just keep on sending them to me. It's not a problem. I love it. Keep them coming. I'm just saying. That's why I use that one. But overall, this 8BitDo Zero is really just a tiny controller. It's only for people who don't have a lot of room in their bags and just need something really tiny to fit into the crevices of their bag, and no other crevices, like a mouth. So if you just got yourself a Switch Lite, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, the must-have accessories are a case, a micro SD card, and maybe one of those charge stands. There's plenty of options for each of those that I just talked about, so get whichever one you think would work best for you. As far as a micro SD card goes, the last time I checked, the best price to capacity ratio seemed to be the 128 gigabyte SanDisk. Micro SD cards go on sale all the time, so this price ratio might fluctuate by the time you see this. 128 gigabytes is perfectly fine for most people, especially if you only get physical games. But if you're a digital game power user, then get something bigger. You know yourself better than I know you. You'll know what you need. If you don't know what you need, it's probably 128 gigabyte. Of course, there are Amazon affiliate links to everything that I talked about in the description below, and those links help support the channel. Thank you so much for using those. So what do you guys think about all of these Switch Lite accessories that I talked about? Do you have a Switch Lite yourself? What accessories did you get with it? Is there anything that I left out? Or is there anything here that you see that you need to get for yourself right now? Or even if you don't have a Switch Lite, maybe you found a use for one of these things. Leave it in the comments below. Add me on Twitter, and all this other social media garbage. Did you know that we have 4 YouTube channels? Let me break it down. Wulff Den, which is where you are right now. You're here. Hi. Wulff Den Clips, which is the podcast that we have, just cut into bite-sized chunks, so it'll be like one of these videos instead of a 2-hour long podcast. Wulff Den VODs, which is all of my Twitch streams just on YouTube, which are usually like 3 hours long if you like the long form stuff. And Bob Wulff. That's just me. And I have a big half-hour long video that's there now about me in New York and the whole Cabona virus. Anyway, of course, the most important thing that you can do to help support the channel is just subscribe. Thank you for doing so. Share this video with a friend who is either looking into getting a Switch Lite or has one, or maybe you think they could find one of these things useful. Anyway, thank you so much. Wash your hands, please, and don't go anywhere. You don't have to go anywhere. Have a good one.